Has your resolve ever faded over time? Have you ever had a resolution that went up in smoke after a month or even a week? Why is it so hard to stick with a plan? Hi, I'm Coach Dave. I'm an independent OPTAVIA coach, OPTAVIA, and I've been helping people safely lose weight physically and mentally for over 10 years. When setting out to make positive changes in our lives, it's natural to spend time imagining what we want to accomplish, maybe even fantasizing it to a degree. I'm going to get so lean, I'm going to get so strong, I'm going to run an ultra or ride a century or do an Ironman. It's gratifying to imagine what it would feel like to have accomplished such a feat. But it's equally important to honestly evaluate where you are right now and chart a course from where you are now to where you want to be. For each area we want to improve, there is a path, which is a planned out sequence of intentionally repeated actions designed to forge new habits required to live into that desired new future. This is referred to as structural tension, where we stand where we are and we are pulled forward by a vision of our desired future. One of the reasons our resolve fades over time is that we lose track of where we are on the path. If the path is unclear, it's easy to get lost. And when we get lost, it's impossible to know which way is forward. And so we give up. That's why the gym is packed on January 1st and pretty much back to normal by February. Optimizing our well-being depends on our habits. Our current life experience is the outcome of the habits that we have collected up until now. Not just our physical habits, what we do and how we behave, but our mental habits as well, our patterns of thinking and feeling. And that makes sense because before we can actually do anything, there is mental and emotional energy that drives or precedes that action. So mental patterns and habits precede physical habits and patterns. But where do these patterns come from? Okay, there's this thing. This is going to feel a little like a side quest, but just stick with me for a minute. There's this thing called the Conscious Competence Training Model. It was originally developed in the 1960s and 70s, and it has to do with learning a new skill, or in our case, developing a new habit. It could be anything from tying a shoe to driving a car to playing the piano. When we're learning a new habit, we go through 4 stages, and they go like this. Stage 1 is unconscious incompetence, where we don't know what we don't know. We don't know how to drive a car, let's say, and until it dawns on us that maybe we could drive a car by ourselves someday, we are blissfully unaware of our incompetence. We remain this way until the end of stage 1, which is marked by a decision to make a change. I will learn to drive a car. Stage 2 is conscious incompetence. Here we are immediately confronted with how complicated and dangerous it is to drive a car and how ineffective we are at actually doing it. This is the hardest stage because there's this part of us, the inner critic, that doesn't believe that we can learn anything new or grow beyond who we are right now. It takes a lot of intentional practice to get good at anything. It is tedious and monotonous, and we are continually faced with how bad we are at doing it. And unless we persist in the face of all that resistance, we will never make it through to the next stage. I mean, consider how many free throws a basketball player has to sink in practice before he ever makes it to the NBA draft. I'll bet it's in the tens of thousands. This is the stage where most people quit and turn back, pining for the days where they didn't know what they didn't know. But now they know, and they can't unknow it. It's hard to believe we'll ever improve, and that inner critic is going to nag us the whole way, telling us we're not good enough, we don't have what it takes, we don't belong, on and on. But if we can strengthen our resolve, ignore the inner critic, and keep showing up and moving forward, eventually we will transition to stage 3, which is conscious competence. Now we're getting somewhere, and it is getting easier, finally. We still have to think about clutch, shift, gas, clutch, but muscle memory is kicking in now, and we're not grinding gears anymore. And now our inner critic is quieting down because our conditioned mind has some history behind it. It can see the proficiency we're developing and the results that we're creating. It is starting to come into alignment with the new course that we've charted for ourselves. The conditioned mind is starting to believe. Keep at this long enough and we'll make it to stage 4, which is unconscious competence. Now we're so proficient we barely have to think about it. Now we can drive a car without thinking about driving a car. We can think about other things or have a conversation because all of the thoughts and actions required to drive a car have been written to the unconscious conditioned mind, where they no longer require your conscious awareness on a moment-by-moment basis. These 4 stages are the roadmap for developing any new habit or learning any new skill, which is a collection of intentionally curated habits. It's also the process of developing new habits of thinking, including how we think about ourselves or our self-esteem. So how do we maintain our resolve to stay on the path? There are a few things that can help. First, awareness that there is a path is a big first step. If you've watched this far, now you know that there are stages in the development of any new habit. When we don't know where we are, it's natural to feel lost and unsure where we're going. Now you can locate yourself on that roadmap and pick your way forward. Second, intentionality. New habits require ongoing practice. There's no such thing as one and done. This is not about checking items off a list. This is about developing the lifestyle you need to craft a new future. Third, you need the support of a like-minded community. I can't tell you how important this is. If you surround yourself with people who tell you you'll never amount to anything or accomplish anything worthwhile, well, odds are not in your favor. But if you surround yourself with people who believe in you and want to support you in your journey to make positive changes, especially if those people are on a similar journey, you will surprise yourself with what you can accomplish. And like they say, you can't change the people around you, but you can change the people around you. And finally, you need a coach. Habits, including habits of thinking, are formed through imitation and repetition. This is called intentional practice. We're not just mindlessly repeating the same routines over and over, but we're getting feedback on our efforts from our coach and integrating that feedback into future efforts. Intentional feedback requires an exemplar, a mentor or coach, who not only shows us the way, but also provides the feedback that we need on our ongoing efforts to improve. Knowing where you are, where you're going, and the path that connects those 2 points is the key to maintaining your resolve. I know sometimes it can feel like you're adrift, but if you are working with your coach and doing the reps, eventually you will get there. Just stay on the path. I hope this is helpful. If it is, please share it with someone you care about. And if working on your health goals with me as your coach is something you'd like to explore, go to my website, mycoachdave.net, and click Explore. Stage 1 is unconscious incompetence. Yes, that's it. Unconscious.